Okay, welcome in one and all. I'm now going to be doing my week 8 previews of the NFL season. Hard to believe we're already 7 weeks in already. Time just seems like it's flying by. Before you know it, we'll be talking about the playoffs and the Super Bowl. It's still a few months away. So the Thursday night matchup has the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Buffalo Bills. Both of these teams are struggling to say the least, both coming off losses in their week 7 games respectively. It's hard for me to really give one team the edge over the other. If I had to make my pick, which I do, obviously, I will. I am kind of more in favor of the Bills than I am in the Buccaneers. I'm not saying, not trying to disrespect the Buccaneers or Mayfield. He's having a pretty decent season for the most part, but I just believe that the Bills are finally going to get off this 2 game losing schneid. Because the thing is, if the Bills lose this one, then it's pretty much you can kiss uh, that AFC East crown goodbye. Because when I preview the Dolphins later on, I think I am going to predict them to win. And if you end up falling 3 games behind them, again, it's really hard to catch up, especially in that division. So I'm going to give the edge to the Bills. Please don't let me down. And they should be able to secure their 5th win of the season. And now for all of Sunday's action. So the first matchup takes place in Carolina, where we have the winless Panthers, and they are taking on the Houston Texans, who are surprised. Who are I gotta say they're I'm more surprised of how successful the Texans have been. They're still sitting at 3-3, and obviously the Panthers are sitting at 0-6. I'm going to go out on a limb, and this is going to be absolutely crazy to think. I believe this could be the week the Panthers finally get their first win of the season. Anything can happen on any given week and any given Sunday, respectively. But I believe this could be the game that Carolina finally secures their first dub. And it's going to be a very bold prediction, but I just have a hunch. I just have something in the back of my mind. It's just saying this could be that one upset of week number 8. Our next matchup takes place in Texas. So obviously, if Houston's playing away, then the home team must be them Cowboys, and they're taking on the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams are coming into this contest sitting at 3-4, while the Cowboys, just coming off their bye week, are sitting at 4-2. I believe the Cowboys should be able to get the victory in this particular matchup. Yeah, they've had a few questionable games where they don't seem like themselves or seem like a shell of themselves, but I truly believe they should be the favorite and should also secure the victory in this particular matchup. Our next matchup takes place in Wisconsin, where we have two NFC North teams that are more than familiar with each other. We have the Minnesota Vikings, and they are heading into Green Bay to take on the Packers. The Vikings came off a miraculous victory on Monday night against the 49ers, while Green Bay suffered a crushing loss in Denver last Sunday. The Packers are sitting at 2-5. The Minnesota Vikings are sitting at 3-4. Excuse me. I'm going to give the edge to the Vikings in this matchup. They just seem that even though they had that very poor start to the season, they seem to have a little bit of mojo going. They're on a 2 game winning streak, and I believe they'll be able to bring that into Green Bay, and they should be able to get back to 500 football at 4-4 by the time the game is all said and done. Our next matchup takes place in Indiana, where we have the Colts, and they are playing host to the inconsistent New Orleans Saints. Both these teams are coming into this matchup sitting at 3-4. So no team has really been consistent. No team has been running away with victories. Again, games they should win, they lose, vice versa. Just because Richardson is out for the Colts, I'm going to favor the Saints in this matchup. Not trying to throw any shade towards Minshew, but I don't think he, in my opinion, is a starting quarterback in this league. He's just pretty much a backup in case someone gets hurt, and obviously he's playing because Anthony Richardson is obviously out for X amount of time. So I believe the Saints, even though they've been very inconsistent, they should be able to get the W in this particular matchup. Next one takes place in the AFC East, where we have the New England Patriots, who came off a huge win last week, and the Dolphins also winning as well. Uh, so coming into this matchup, they actually have opposite records. The Patriots are sitting at 2-5, and the Dolphins are sitting at 5-2 in first place in that AFC East. As I mentioned at the very start when I was talking about the Bills, I do believe the Dolphins should be able to get the victory in this one. They should be able to get to 6-2 by the time this is all said and done. I'm not trying to disrespect the Patriots, but they're not the team they used to be. If I want to be politically correct, I just believe in my heart and soul that the Dolphins are the better team on paper, and they should be able to prove it on the field as well. The next matchup takes place in New York with two teams that actually share a stadium. So we have the New York Football Giants, and they're playing host to the New York Jets. Again, both these teams play in the same stadium, so even though the Jets are the away team, I can see the fans pretty much being like 50-50. You're going to have some Jets fans, you're going to have some Giants fans, and so I can guarantee if the Jets score, you're going to hear roars from the crowd. It's not like you have a divisional opponent where you're going to be booing if the other team scores. Again, these two teams share a stadium, so there's going to be cheers whether one team wins or the other one does. So in this particular matchup, I'm going to give the edge to the Jets. Even though the Giants did come off a win last week against the Commanders, I don't know if they have enough in the tank to really secure or to salvage. That's what I'm looking for, to salvage their season, because they are now sitting at 2-5. The Jets are sitting at 3-3. The Giants could easily win, but what I've seen in the first 6 or 7 weeks of the season, they have not been the team that they were from a season ago. So with that being said, again, I am going to favor the Jets in this matchup. The next one takes place in Pennsylvania, where we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they are playing host to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are coming into this matchup sitting at 5-2. The Steelers are sitting at 4-2. So both these teams are having successful seasons so far. And obviously, if the playoffs were to start, both these teams would make it as of right now. But we still have many, many more weeks to come. So who knows what's going to prevail by week 18. I'm going to give the edge to the Jaguars in this particular matchup. Again, no disrespect to the Steelers. This is just my predictions. And I just think that they have finally found their game, and they are finally turning into the team that they were when they went on their winning streak last season to make it into the postseason. And it doesn't look like they have a whole lot of competition in that AFC South, because the Titans are not the team that I thought or expected them to be, and the Colts and Texans both only have 3 wins, respectively, between the two teams. So if the Jaguars can get the victory in this one, they could easily have like a 3-game lead in that division. Our next matchup takes place in Tennessee, where we have the Titans, and they are playing host to the Atlanta Falcons. Now, had these teams met last year, I would have said this would have been like a reunion of sorts, because Mariota would have been on the Falcons playing against the team that drafted him back in 2015, but he's no longer there. I believe it's Kenny Stills, if I'm not mistaken. He's the quarterback for the Falcons. And speaking of quarterbacks, I just seen a post today that said that Tannehill most likely is not going to be making his, most likely it will not be playing. So they do have another quarterback. I should have written his name down, and I apologize that I didn't. So we could have 2 fairly newer quarterbacks facing off against each other. So coming into this matchup, the Falcons are sitting at 4-3. The Titans are sitting at 2-4. I just think that the Falcons, even though I always like to use the word inconsistent, but I really mean it. They've been winning, losing, winning, losing. They haven't been going on 2-3 game winning streaks, so you can't say they're red hot coming into this particular matchup. And as for the Titans, just like I discussed prior, they are a shell of themselves, to say the least, to start this 2023 campaign. So with that being said, I am going to give the edge to the Atlanta Falcons. Next matchup takes place in DC, where we have two AFC East teams that are very familiar with each other in the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Washington Commanders. The Eagles are sitting at 6-1 on the season, while the Commanders are sitting at 3-4. With that being said, I am going to favor the away team in this matchup. I just believe that they are a team that's. I've said this from the very get-go. They should be the team that could go all the way to the Super Bowl, at least make an NFC Championship appearance, just in my personal opinion. The reason I say this is because obviously they went to the Super Bowl just a season ago, and they're just as strong this year as they were just a season ago. As for the Commanders, they had an okay start, but they're going on a bit of a losing streak, and it's hard to overcome those losing streaks to get back into contention. So I am going to favor the Eagles against their NFC East foes. The next matchup takes place in Seattle, where we have the Seahawks, who are playing host to the Cleveland Browns. The Browns and Seahawks are both sitting at 4-2. For me, this is a flip of a coin. Again, any team could win, and I'm not favoring any team over the other. I'm just going to go on a wild predicament and say the Browns could possibly come away with a away victory over the Seahawks. Now, with that being said, the Seahawks could absolutely dominate the Browns in this particular matchup, but I'm just going to go with Cleveland in this particular game. Next matchup takes place in Arizona, where we have the Cardinals, and they are taking on another bird team in the Ravens. So Baltimore is coming into this matchup sitting at 5-2. They're riding high pretty well, and Cardinals are sinking, to say the least. They're sitting at 1-6. I have no choice. I'm going to give the edge to the Purple Birds in this particular matchup. I just believe the Ravens are on a tear, to say the least. They've been dominating games. Just looking. Lamar's been playing unreal, in my opinion. He could potentially, in my opinion, be like one of the candidates for MVP. That's just my opinion. But I believe that the Ravens should be very successful this year, and they should get a victory over the Cardinals. Staying in the NFC West, we have the 49ers, and they're playing host to another team from the AFC North, where the Bengals are coming to town. The Bengals are coming into this matchup sitting at 3-3. San Fran's on a 2-game losing streak, but they are still atop of that NFC West, sitting at 5-2. I believe the 49ers should be able to finally get over that schneid after losing to the Browns and the Vikings respectively, and they should be able to get back on the winning track, especially at home, and they most likely will be sitting at 6-2 by the time the game is all said and done. As for the Bengals, again, that poor start to the season, they're back to 500, but I think it's going to be very tough to beat this 49ers squad. Our next matchup takes place in the AFC West, where we have two teams that are more than familiar with each other, and one team has clearly been dominant over the other one since 2016. The Chiefs are sitting at 6-1. The Denver Broncos are sitting at 2-5. I'm going to make a bold prediction, and this is going to be absolutely way out in left field. I think the Broncos finally beat the Chiefs for the first time since the 2015 campaign. After their win against the Packers last week, their defense finally showed up. Prior to that, I think I read a stat that said that they were giving up like almost 30 points a game. Yeah, in the first game, they only gave up 17 to the Raiders, but after that, it's been like 30 points they've been giving up ever since. And if you're giving up 30 points on defense, good luck catching up on offense. Now, again, I could bite my tongue, and the Chiefs could absolutely come in and roll over the Broncos and push them around and bully them, which they have the last 7-8 years. But I believe, in the back of my mind, I believe Russ is finally going to cook and not burn what he's about to serve. So, I think, again, I could be completely wrong with all these picks, And maybe I'm just being biased because I'm a Broncos fan, but I finally believe this could be the week and this could be the year that they finally defeat the team that's dominated them, like I said, for 7, 8 years. Two matchups left on the schedule. The Sunday night matchup takes place in Los Angeles, where we have the Chargers, and they are playing host to the Chicago Bears. So, coming into this matchup, both these teams only have 2 wins. Chicago had one extra game. They are sitting at 2-5. The Chargers lost last week, so they are now sitting at 2-4. As much as I believe the Chargers should be able to get the victory in this one because they should be the favorite, I'm going to be bold. I have a lot of bold predictions for Week 8. I don't know what got into me for this particular week, but I got a funny feeling the Bears could potentially upset the Chargers at home in Los Angeles. And the last matchup, which takes place on Monday night between the Detroit Lions and the Las Vegas Raiders. So the Raiders, after a crushing loss to the Bears last week, they are sitting at 3-4, while Detroit is sitting atop of that NFC North with a 5-2 record. I have no choice but to give the edge to the home team in this matchup. I just believe Goff is playing pretty decently, to say the least, and their offense and defense seem to be clicking at all the right times so far this season. So I believe the Lions should be able to secure their 6th win of this 2023 campaign. As always, if you like this type of content, feel free to hit the sub button. I'd be very grateful and very appreciative at the same time. And as always, take care.